SE16, your home for everything Ithaca and Nashville. It starts right now.
Hello and welcome to a brand new edition of the SE16 podcast. As always, I'm Steve Altieri, joined by Jonah and Matt Rahemba.
Yeah.
We have a great show lined up for you guys. Later, we will be joined by graduate of Duke University, a former writer for MLB.com, and current beat writer for the Boston Red Sox for the Providence Journal, Tim Britton. But first, it is playoff time. Playoff time in the NBA and the NHL.
Talking about playoffs?
Let's start with the NHL, guys. What are your thoughts so far to begin the NHL playoffs?
Well, right now, I think the biggest thing that we should talk about is the way the NHL set up the new playoff format. They set it up in a more NCAA style. They put teams in different divisions, brackets. They had the teams play 1 through 4. 1 through 4 teams will play each other, and the 3 and the 2 teams will end up playing each other. And I think right now, you look at that format and the way the NHL has set that up, I think it's made for some really exciting action in the NHL playoffs so far.
I like it a lot. I mean, I like the way that it's set up with the 1 versus 4, the 4 different pods, top 4 seeds, the 2 wild card, the division winners. I like it. I like it a lot. I mean, it sets you up for Colorado versus Minnesota, which you wouldn't have really had in a 1 through 8 setup.
It's also set you up for some good rivalry games as well. You got the Rangers taking on the Flyers in the first round. That's a game that should be a very good series right now. They're both tied up.
Always
you have some good
Bruins,
series
Red
and
Wings,
good rivalries.
Bruins, Red Wings.
2 of the original 6 teams who haven't played in the playoffs in over 50 years. And also, in addition to the rivalries, because they're playing against teams that are in their division, they also have tougher competition. The number 1 team in the NHL this year, the Bruins, winners of the President's Trophy, have to play the Detroit Red Wings.
It isn't an easy matchup.
Play the Red Wings in the playoffs.
Listen, you got Jimmy Howard at net for them. You also have a lot of good guys, a lot of wingers for them that could have put up a lot of good goals. So that's a series that's not going to be an easy one for both teams.
Jimmy Howard's mom works at my high school. Just a fun fact to throw that out there.
Why? Why do
Jimmy
the
Howard's
need
mom
to know
works
that? Why
at your...
do I need to know that?
Is Jimmy Howard from?
He's actually from Syracuse.
Okay,
He's from Syracuse.
Mister, I'm from near Syracuse.
Mr. Hey, Salt, you from Boston?
Okay, moving on.
Salty knows Steve Carell.
Yeah, Steve Carell's from
Steve Carell.
Steve Carell is from my hometown. I have met him.
No, but
you haven't.
I went into a store and there is a picture of him.
So you saw a picture
of
him.
One of my friend's grandmothers.
Well, that does not mean you met him.
So you didn't meet him. You saw a picture of him.
I was with the kid at the time.
You met him by association. That's all that really happened.
The kid you were with, man.
Okay, we need to bring this back to the NHL because that is the topic of discussion.
I'm gonna point this out really quick. Is Tampa Bay, Montreal.
Oof.
That series
is getting ugly.
Yeah, the Canadians are taking it to the Lightning.
I really didn't see Montreal putting in this effort.
No, I didn't expect it to be a 3-0 series going into this one. I thought it was going to be a very even series going throughout. I mean, you look at it for the Lightning, they got a guy like Ryan Callahan at extra defense for them. They also have Steven Stamkos. I mean, they're
the best offensive and one of the best defensive.
One of the best overall players in the NHL. So
I
for
don't
them to be
down
3-0 right now to the Canadians, that's very shocking.
I mean, the Canadians
give a lot of credit to the Canadians.
The Canadians, they have Carey Price and Nat, who's been playing really, really strong for them. And then they have PK Subban manning the back of the defense. He really provides a great person to be back on the D. I mean, without him, they would be nothing. But you have to remember that the Canadians also picked up Thomas Vanek in that deal from the Islanders where he played for half a year.
Yeah,
and they have
barely.
Max Pacioretty, and then they always have Danny Briere too. I mean, he's almost close to retirement, but still, he was one of the top players when he was on the Sabres a couple years back. So I think it's not surprising that the Canadians are doing this well, but it's surprising to me how bad the Lightning are doing.
Yeah, I think the focus really needs to be on Tampa Bay, and you really have to question whether they had a loss of leadership or a loss of chemistry after that trade where they traded Martin St. Louis to the New York Rangers.
Well, listen, Martin St. Louis wanted to go to the Rangers. It was said way long before that he wanted to go to the Rangers. He was tired of playing at Tampa because they weren't winning. Rangers are a very up-and-coming team. They're a team that has a lot of young talent, a lot of good guys, and he wanted to go to the Rangers.
Second of all, what hockey player wants to play in Tampa? That's in Florida.
Yeah, there's nothing.
No disrespect to anybody listening in Tampa right now, if there's anyone listening to us in Tampa Bay right now. But Let's be honest. It's not a hockey city. New York is a hockey city. One of the original teams in the NHL. That's a New York hockey city. That's where people want to go.
Madison Square Garden.
MSG. Everyone wants to play at Madison Square Garden. People want to win. People go to the Rangers.
Another series, we're going to switch to the Western Conference. Another series I want to hit on is the Sharks and Kings. It's another 2-3 in a pod. All the 2-3s, besides the Canadians, they're pretty tied up. Rangers and Flyers 1-1. Blues, Blackhawks 2-1 in favor of St. Louis. Then you got the Kings and Sharks. Sharks have been absolutely throttling the Kings. Jonathan Quick was the starting goalie for Team USA for a couple games in the Olympics, and he is just not doing what anyone thought he would be doing.
What's going on with Jonathan Quick and the Kings overall?
I root
that's
for the
very
Kings.
shocking.
I root for the Kings. I root for the Kings. But I don't know what's going on. I mean, it was a monumental collapse in the game 2. 2 goals in the first period for the Kings, and then San Jose scored 7 in the last 2
Jonah,
periods.
can I just ask you a question?
Yeah.
Why are you an LA Kings fan? You're from upstate New York.
Very random assortment of teams.
I know. Well, I'm kind of
Very
centralized
random
on the
assortment of
East,
teams.
but when I was in 8th grade,
There's always a story for
When I was in
bandwagons fans, by the way.
when I was in 8th grade, I was playing NHL 09.
Oh yeah.
Oh,
and I-
NHL 09,
and
big deal.
And I did a random
That was a fun
team.
game.
And I did a random team, and
fun game.
I ended up on the Kings.
Yep. And
And
ever since you've been a Kings
I got stuck with Anze Kopitar, and I scored like 5-6 goals with him. And I'm just like, wow, this guy's good. And I did a franchise with him, and then I started to know the team, and then I just kind of root for him. So
Well, overall, like the Kings right now, Jonathan Quick has been playing terrible. That's the way I say he's been playing terrible.
I
12
agree.
goals in 2 games right now. I mean, you got to be better than
This
that.
is
If
a
you're a
guy
top
that-
goalie in the NHL,
13
you got to have your best play in the Stanley Cup playoffs, and
the
he
Sharks,
hasn't been doing
the
that
Sharks
so far.
have dropped 13 goals in 2 games so far.
And this is Jonathan Quick, who a couple years ago took over the NHL playoffs.
Hey, but don't doubt the Kings. They won the Cup as an 8 seed. Just saying.
You have a lot of reason to doubt them right now, though.
I agree.
Down 2-0 to the Sharks right now. Quick, your overall best player, hasn't been playing well for you. I mean, there isn't really much of a reason to make me think that the Kings are going to come out and going to win this series against the San Jose Sharks, who've clearly been playing a lot better than they have.
I just need to move on from the LA Kings. I really want to talk about the Blackhawks and Blues, 2 very good teams, but I have a necessity to give a shout out to the Columbus Blue Jackets for winning their first playoff game in franchise
Go
history.
Jackets. Go Jackets.
They should have won last night. 4 goals and it was 3 goals in the third period. 3 goals in the third period by the Penguins, and they were up to the Blue Jackets were up 2-0 in the first. It was really sad to see the Penguins just kind of take over. I mean,
the Penguins are a very, very good team. I just think it's great whenever a team for their first time wins a playoff game. Because
they should have won another one last night. They were killing it out there.
Well,
for the
clearly
first
you
2
could have
period-
some playoff nerves for the Columbus Blue Jackets right now, going up against arguably one of the best teams in the NHL, with arguably one of the best players. Yeah, one of the best players in the NHL. So I mean, they're showing up though. At least they won a game. They're down 2-1 right now. The series is wide open.
Yeah, hockey series 2-1.
Series is wide open.
It's not the NBA where the home team wins every time. 2-1, you have no idea who's going to win. 3-0, you even don't know who's going to win half the time in hockey.
It's so unpredictable. It's ridiculous how unpredictable the NHL playoffs are.
Yeah, you never know what you're going to get in the NHL playoffs.
And that's why
Stanley Cup playoffs.
That's why I love the Stanley Cup playoffs, because they're intense. The players go all out. They take it to a whole nother level, and there have been so many overtime games so far. The games coming down to the wire.
That's exactly what I want to talk about, the overtime games, and a lot of games so far in the playoffs have come down to the wire right now, and I think that's made for some exciting playoff action right now in the NHL, and I think that's what separates the Stanley Cup playoffs from a lot of other playoffs that you see in the NHL, because you don't really have the shootouts. Shootouts are exciting. I'm not going to lie. I love seeing shootouts. Shootouts are exciting, but I feel like guys go all out 3 periods, and a lot of these games we've seen so far, they've come down to the wire, and it's made for some really exciting playoff action right now.
Yeah, it's been really exciting, but you guys cannot omit it. You know what happens when overtime comes. You know what happens on Twitter.
Oh my goodness! Don't bring this up.
It's
Jonah.
the Bucci overtime challenge.
Man, we almost.
Yeah, I don't know why
had come on our show.
I don't know why he said he would on
He
Twitter.
said sure.
All right. For those who are not aware of what the Bucci overtime challenge is. Can someone please explain?
I think
it?
everyone's aware of the
I would
Bucci
love to
overtime
explain the
challenge.
Bucci overtime challenge. If a game goes into overtime, you pick a player from each team who you think will win.
And if you
Score.
and if you pick correctly, what happens?
You get a Bucci overtime T-shirt. If he picks
Ooh.
correct, it's one less than he would have given out before. And sometimes he throws in some extra surprises like some hats, some stickers.
He keeps you on your toes.
He is.
He keeps you
He
guessing.
is a wonderful
And
man.
it's exciting. Twitter, he is a wonderful man.
He's
John
a wonderful
Bucci-Gross
man.
is a very wonderful man.
He is.
And
he's a
hey,
classic.
maybe we'll get him on our show.
Maybe that would be pretty sick. But
That would be wonderful to have him on
what
our
do you
show.
guys going forward in the playoffs, the NHL playoffs? What do you guys see happening?
All right, out of the East, I gotta go with whoever wins Boston, Detroit. I have them winning the entire conference. 'Cause
Over Montreal right now?
Over Montreal. I know Montreal started out hot. I know the Penguins are good. The Flyers in New York are both solid teams, but
So who do you see coming out of that side, making it to the final?
Okay, out of that division, I'm gonna go with the Penguins. Sidney Crosby's gonna lead the Penguins to win that division. Got winner of Boston, Detroit coming out of the East overall. I've got the Blues in the West facing off against Anaheim in the Western Conference Finals. The Blues are just too good. They're playing the Blackhawks, the defending Stanley Cup champions, but I could.
And who do you see making it to the final right there?
The final, I got the St. Louis Blues.
You have the Blues.
So is that the pick? I know we made our picks a few episodes ago. Was that the pick? Do you remember if that was the pick that you made?
Well, a few episodes ago, I picked the Bruins, and now I'm saying it's the winner of Boston and Detroit in the East. And in the West, I believe we can go back to the records. You guys at home can go look at our
I thought you
former
just said
shows.
Pittsburgh.
Well, I said you asked me for the division, so I'm saying.
No, I said out of that side.
Out of that
Yeah,
side,
you said.
I'm picking the winner of Boston and Detroit. That's what I said from the beginning.
Oh, okay, all right.
Don't question me.
Hey,
Oh,
easy,
oh.
buddy, easy, buddy.
I'm
Take
sorry.
it easy.
Ooh,
Hey,
harsh.
hey.
Drama.
Harsh.
Take it easy. Well, for
Harsh.
me, I see. I said the Pittsburgh Penguins and the Anaheim Ducks are going to face each other in the Stanley Cup final, and I'm a man to my word. I still have the Pittsburgh Penguins coming out of there and the Anaheim Ducks coming out of the West and playing for each other in the Stanley Cup final. Right now, I feel like they're two of the top teams right now in the NHL, and I feel like there's no way that they're not.
I remember
that
that I said whoever comes out of the Colorado LA series, but that didn't happen because when we did our podcast, that was the projected standings. So I'm going to stick with Colorado coming out of the West because they're a strong team. Simone Varlamov, Nate McKinnon is killing it. He's the 19-year-old phenom. So good. That goal he had, skate down the ice, dangle, snipe, Selly, that was beautiful. So I have Colorado coming out of the West, and then I'm gonna have to stay with Salty and say whoever wins the Boston-Detroit series comes out of the East because those are two of the most strong and consistent
None of
teams.
you guys are high on Pittsburgh or Montreal right now.
Well, Pittsburgh lost to the Blue Jackets. I mean, the Blue Jackets aren't that strong of a team. They haven't been playing in a while.
It's the playoffs.
It's a long playoffs, okay? You can't.
Teams
take
are gonna
the fact
lose.
That the Canadians won early, have won 3 games,
and have dominated.
They've dominated, but
Dominated?
it's a long playoffs. You need your
I
goalie
agree.
to get hot.
I agree.
Yeah.
It's a long playoffs, but I feel like they have a very good team and they could possibly make a run. I don't think they're gonna make it to the final, but I think they could make a run at it.
All right. We this is great debate. The NHL is always fantastic to
Oh,
talk
yeah.
about, especially come playoff time.
But there's also other playoffs going on right now.
There are. We need to move on to
There's also other playoffs going on right now.
Yeah, the other playoffs that are going on. We need to move on to the NBA playoffs.
Yeah,
Just
NBA.
The NBA playoffs just begun. The bracket is set. Each series has had a game so far. There's going to be more. this night,
maybe
tomorrow.
two.
Maybe even 2 in a couple of the Western Conference
You
series.
never
So,
know. First, I just want to start off the game last night, Memphis OKC. That shot by Kevin Durant, incredible.
The 4-point play.
The 4-point play by Kevin Durant, foul by Marcus All, puts the shot up in the corner, puts that one in over.
I didn't even know the ball
didn't
didn't
shot.
even look like the ball touched his
I didn't even
hands.
think he was going to be able to get that one off. It was an incredible shot by Kevin Durant, the MVP in my opinion this year in the NBA.
Who won the game?
The Grizzlies won the game.
Yes.
Okay, but we just said that in the NHL
That
playoffs.
is a steal.
We just said that in the NHL playoffs. He said the jacket. They lost the Jackets. The Pittsburgh Penguins lost the Jackets.
Yes, but the NBA is so much based on home court advantage, which is not how the NHL.
Did you think they were going to sweep the Grizzlies?
Did
Did you think OKC was going to sweep the Grizzlies?
When you are the number 2 team in your conference, when you are right there considered one of the best teams in
Okay.
the entire league. In the NBA, you
Okay.
need to win your home games in the playoffs. And the Thunder
That's
did
not
not
always
do
going to
that.
You
happen.
shoulda-
Though. That's
you
not
shoulda-
always going to happen,
Memphis
though.
Grizzlies stole home court advantage from
And
the
give
Thunder.
credit to the
And
Grizzlies.
Listen.
Give credit to the Grizzlies.
They have
They
the
took it one in overtime. OKC brought them in overtime, and they stole that one in overtime. I'll give them credit, but I'm not taking anything away from the Thunder.
Do you guys remember a couple years back when the Grizzlies were an 8 seed and made it to the Western Conference semis?
Exactly.
They have it in them. They're a team. It's basically the same team. Zach Randolph, Mike Conley.
And they match up so well.
Yeah,
against the
and you have
Thunder.
Marcus Gasol who can pass out of the post. He's a great defender, and he's kind of like Powell but younger. So I can see them beating the Thunder.
I don't see it.
I could easily see it. And
I don't
I
see
would
it.
never, I would not say this in the slightest if the Thunder and their management had not been cheapskates and traded James Harden to the Rockets. That
Okay.
this would never even be a...
Yeah, I was saying this last night. Imagine if they had James Harden, how good they would be with James Harden.
Listen, I
don't even-
agree. I think they'd be a better team if they kept James Harden, trade away Westbrook, and kept James Harden and Kevin Durant.
You keep both.
How are you gonna keep both of them? How are you gonna keep both of them?
They had an amnesty that they could have used on Kendrick Perkins' $11 million contract.
Or Serge Ibaka. They
Or
gave him
Serge
max.
Ibaka.
They gave Serge Ibaka a max
Exactly.
deal.
And Kevin Durant, all season long, he has had an incredible season. One of the greatest. He has done stuff that forwards have never done. Larry Bird never put in the performance that Kevin Durant did this season.
Okay.
But if James Harden was there, Durant wouldn't be double teamed every time down the floor, and the Grizzlies would have a much tougher time game planning against the Thunder, which is why the Grizzlies have a chance in this series.
I agree. I think the Grizzlies absolutely have a chance in this series. Oklahoma City does not really have anyone that can match up against Marc Gasol, Zach Randolph. Yes, Kevin Durant is almost 7 feet tall, but he doesn't really have the post defense that, say, a center would have. But you were talking about Kendrick Perkins. Without Kendrick Perkins last night, they wouldn't have made it to overtime.
Exactly. That's the thing. You have to pick the best of what you can get.
Yeah.
Let's move on from the Thunder Memphis Grizzlies series, and let's take a look at the Eastern Conference. A couple of lower seed, 3 of the 4 series, the lower seed won. The Hawks beat the Pacers. The Nets pulled it out against the Toronto Raptors.
And the
I gotta
Wizards.
ask, what's going on with the Pacers right now?
It
haven't been playing
it
well.
was a fault. Jeff Teague went off in the third quarter. It was just an occurrence. It's not going to happen again. The Pacers are going to win
sorry.
4 straight.
Jeff Teague has been a very good playoff player, and the Pacers have fallen apart since Paul George stopped doing so well. They added Andrew Bynum, and they traded away Danny Granger. Since all 3 of
Danny
those
Granger
things
was
happened-
hurt. Danny Granger was
But
hurt
it's
forever.
chemistry. It's chemistry. It's the locker room atmosphere, and this Pacers team has not been the same since then.
Listen,
Well-
I just don't think they've really been playing up to their standards right now, and I picked them to go to the finals, and I right now it's a little shaky right now.
So
I
you're-
don't feel
so-
like them overall as a team are going to.
So you're gonna attribute all of the Pacers' losses and worry and despair to the loss of Danny Granger in the locker room.
I'm not saying that is the reason, but it's a part of it. A lot of little things have happened with the Pacers that are adding up and making them not be the same team that they were at the beginning of this season.
Well, you can't say chemistry. I mean, Danny Granger played like 4 games. That's
But
he
did
couldn't
you hear
help
what
it.
else I said? I said Paul George has not played at the same level as he was
finally
playing before.
finally cooled down. But remember last year when he heated up in the playoffs? He can heat up at any time.
He didn't in game 1.
Sorry, it was 1 game. Did you heat up in 1 game of AAU?
Some of the time.
Yeah,
I
exactly.
heard you were an AAU legend.
In the Middlesex County of Acton, Massachusetts area.
You don't even know what you're talking
No,
about.
I just-
Let's take it back to the NBA now. The Brooklyn Nets, though, they beat Toronto.
I'm not done.
You're not done?
Well, too bad. I think that series could be a potential to go into 7 games.
That's the series that I want to see. Game 1 was close.
That's a very exciting
and then-
series. Those
and
two
then
teams match up
hold
very
on.
well, in my opinion.
They match up very well, and Paul Pierce took over the fourth
I'm
quarter.
happy. I'm happy for him. He gets to go on a team and showcase what he can do. I mean, Toronto's not really that strong of a team. The only reason they're in the 3 slot is because they won the really, really weak Atlantic Division.
Yep.
And Brooklyn was right behind
And listen,
them.
how about Paul Pierce and Kevin Garnett in that game the other day?
Paul Pierce, Kevin Garnett
Those guys came through in the clutch for them
Yeah.
late
They
in the
didn't
game.
perform too well until the fourth quarter.
Well, what can
Hey.
you expect? It's Paul
Hey.
Pierce.
What you want your veterans to do.
It's Paul Pierce. What else? What
Veterans
else can you
came through in the
expect?
clutch for them late in the game, and they were able to give them that 1-0 lead over right now in the series. So,
Well-
I mean, it's going to be a good. I think it could still end up being a very good one, going possibly into 7 games late in that one.
Miami's going to sweep Charlotte, no question about it.
Yep, absolutely.
Washington and Chicago, I can see that coming down to 7 games.
I could see Houston and Portland also going into 7 games because those teams match up very well, and they're very even teams. I think.
Yeah, I mean, LaMarcus Aldridge and Damian Lillard, the last duo on a team to score 45 and 30 in a playoff game. Do you guys know who it was before Lillard and Aldridge?
I didn't hear your question. I wasn't paying
Do
attention.
you remember the last 2 people, the last duo of players to score 45 and 30 in an NBA playoff game before them in 1992?
Okay. Well, Michael Jordan and Scottie Pippen.
That is correct.
Yep.
That's
That's a
a
while
one
back.
that's a 1-2 punch right there.
Hey.
Jordan,
that was a
Pippen,
great game one,
Aldridge,
though.
Lillard. He took Lillard really stepped up when Aldridge fouled out. I mean, Aldridge, what do you have? 48 and
46 points and 18
yeah,
rebounds.
yeah. I was gonna say 48 and 16. So he really scrapped around. He really got it going, and he really impressed me out there. I mean, he's young. Lillard's young, so these NBA playoffs, it's gonna be a wild one coming down to the finals in June.
All right, quickly, guys. Who you got out of the East or the West, and who do you got winning it all? Matt, we'll start with you.
I had the Pacers, and
Ooh,
listen,
ooh.
I know they're looking a little shaky right now. I don't know. This could possibly be a series that's going to go very late. Could possibly go 6 or 7 games, but I still have the Pacers coming out of that and making it to the finals. And in the West, I said the Blazers, and I'm going to stick with the Blazers. I think it's going to be the Pacers and the Trailblazers playing for each other, playing against
Pacers,
each other. in the NBA
Trailblazers.
Finals.
All right, who you got winning that matchup?
I don't know.
Okay, fine. Moving on to
No.
Jonah. Who do you got out of the East and the West?
Well, the East, I want the Pacers. I dislike the Heat, but I have to go with the Heat. They have the easiest path. Bobcats, and then Toronto or Brooklyn, who they can easily beat, and both of them and have home.
Sir.
So I know
Did
it's
you
Paul.
see the
I know
playoff
it's Paul Pierce, but listen, he's 36.
Okay.
He doesn't have what he had 3 years
Okay,
ago.
mister, I'm going to pick the Heat. Who you got in the West?
I don't like. I actually out of the West, I'm gonna go with Golden State.
I could see that. That's a sleeper team.
They
That
they
is a
can beat
sleeper
the
team.
Clippers if Steph Curry, Iguodala, and Klay Thompson continue their reign of terror, of amazingness. They could easily beat Oklahoma City, who are slumping. If you could shut down Kevin Durant, which Andre Iguodala can do, you're going to win the game.
Who do you got, Salty?
All right, in the East.
Who's your final matchup?
In the East?
Both. Just who do you got?
I'm gonna get there, okay? Just be patient.
I have something I want to say.
Yeah, but I
have
it's
something
my
I
turn
want
to
to say,
talk.
and I want to get your opinions on
I'm
it.
going to give you my opinion. First of all, I gotta say, the Heat. You have to go with the Heat. My heart is telling me to pick the Nets, but you can't bet against the Heat.
It's going to be the winner.
in the
It's going to be the
West-
winner of Nets Heat in the second
Yeah,
round.
Exactly. And in the West, the Spurs are too good, too consistent year in, year
Coach of the
out.
year, Greg Popovich.
Greg Popovich just announced Coach of the Year. I got the Spurs in the West. Spurs, Heat again in the NBA Finals.
Okay, now we'll get to what I wanted to say.
Yeah, go for it.
All right,
So I'm on
Jonah.
ESPN.com right now. I'm on ESPN.com right now,
Are you?
and there is a poll that ESPN just came out with.
Okay.
And in this poll, they asked which league has the most exciting playoffs, NBA or NHL.
NHL.
By
I
far.
want. Who do you guys think?
I
And-
love basketball, but there's so much passion, and the Stanley Cup is the best trophy in the
So
sporting
you're going
world.
with NHL.
Yep.
So Salty.
Without a doubt. Without any doubt at all.
Hey, how
I'm
much
sorry,
doubt? How much doubt do
ESPN.
you have? How much doubt?
Do you have any doubt? Is there any doubt? 1% of doubt?
There's no doubt.
No
But
doubt?
I'm picking-
Okay, guys,
I'm
as
from
a whole-
New England, though, but I'm picking
Okay.
the
okay.
NHL.
As a whole,
Finals.
165,000 votes. NBA got 55% of the vote as the best playoff. NHL got 45.
It's
Yes,
not.
but here's the thing. You gotta
Salty, tell those
respect the
165,000 people why they are wrong.
Okay, first of all,
Let 'em
not
know.
all of those
I'll go after Salty.
165,000 people are wrong. 55% of those 165,000 people are wrong.
Wow.
Get your facts straight.
Whoa, buddy.
First of
Whoa,
all.
buddy.
Second of all,
Whoa, buddy.
Ooh,
Whoa,
kill
buddy.
'em.
Take it
Dude,
easy.
How come anybody in the southeast part of the United States or in the Midwest would watch hockey? There's no lakes to skate on. It's not icy there most of the year. This is why the NHL needs to expand more into Canada, be a Canadian league and an American league.
They've expanded
combined.
plenty in Canada.
Winnipeg, Vancouver,
There's plenty of
Calgary,
I'm sorry.
Ottawa,
Plenty of teams in
Toronto, Montreal.
Canada should be half the league, and here's the thing.
Canada should be half the
thing where
league.
these
Half of the
people are
league?
wrong.
That's ridiculous. Canada should not be half
They
of the
don't
league.
have enough What
Where
other
do they put
big
teams?
cities?
What,
What other
besides
big
the teams that he just named, besides the cities that he just named, name another city in Canada.
Saskatchewan.
And you're going to put an NHL team there?
There's one in Calgary. There's one in
That's a
Edmonton.
more
Calgary
popular city.
hosted the Olympics.
The only reason why
a more
you
popular
think that's
city.
a more popular city
'Cause they hosted
is
the Olympics.
because
they hosted the
have
Olympics.
an NHL team.
Because they hosted the
What about
Olympics.
Edmonton?
Edmonton?
Oh, I forgot about Edmonton.
Okay,
That's
clearly
another one.
Edmonton's been one of the most historic teams in the NHL. They
The
won
reason
Stanley Cup
why-
playoffs.
the
like
reason-
five made the Stanley Cup
I think
playoffs
they
in
won
like 5
3
years.
cups.
Yeah.
You know what?
And they made it like when they had Wayne Gretzky. They were
Yeah.
they
There
were one of
could
the most
easily
dominant
be a
teams in the
second
NHL.
team in Toronto. There could easily.
Why would you
be
put two teams in? That's
Toronto
two teams
is
in
the
Toronto.
New York
That could
of
possibly you
Canada.
could possibly put two teams in Toronto. I could see that.
Okay.
Why
but
would? No,
here's
that's-
the
You're not
thing.
gonna put a team in
We're-
Saskatchewan,
We're
Salty.
going to bring this back
Come
to
on,
why
that's
these
ridiculous.
people are wrong. The NHL playoffs are the most intense. They have the best trophy.
But the NHL isn't as popular a sport. Okay, this poll was America.
Yeah, it's
This
America.
poll was America, and clearly the NBA is more popular in America.
And the NBA is more popular worldwide.
Okay,
as well.
worldwide, but in America, no one really watches hockey.
Yeah, they do.
No.
In the
Compared to
Northeast,
basketball?
they do.
Compared to basketball?
Compared to basketball.
I'm not just talking
no
about the
one
Northeast.
watches.
We're talking
Yeah.
about as a whole.
I agree.
As a
I
whole,
agree.
the NBA is clearly a more popular sport than. You
Exactly.
can make an argument that the NBA is the most popular sport in America.
All right,
right.
listen, we are going to take a quick break. We're going to go to the bathroom, and we're going to have Tim Britton on the line when we get back. So this is the SE16 podcast.
Hello?
Stay tuned in. Thanks for listening.
Joining the show now is Red Sox beat writer for the Providence Journal, Tim Britton. Tim, thanks for coming on the show.
Oh, anytime. Thanks for having me.
All right, so we're going to start out on the diamond. The Red Sox have started the season a bit slower than expectations. They are in last place in the very tight AL East, but it's still very early in the season. What are your thoughts so far?
Yeah, this is always the time of year where it's difficult to figure out what start is meaningful and what kind of start isn't. The Red Sox, their offense hasn't been exactly what you would have expected coming into the year. They've struggled to score runs at various points in the season. Dustin Pedroia is off to a slower start. He's missed some time with an injury. Daniel Lava, such an integral part of their offense last year, has looked really bad at the plate. He's hitting about 130 and actually could be sent down to the minors at some point this week. So the offense really hasn't come together the way it did last year when they led the American League in runs. I think the expectation is that, over time, they haven't hit with runners in scoring position, really. They're doing fine in normal situations, but with runners in scoring position, they're hitting at a drastically lower average. The thought is that eventually those hits are going to even out. They'll be redistributed, and they'll start scoring more runs. The pitching staff has been pretty good for the most part. John Lester's been really good. But Clay Buchholz has struggled a little bit. John Lackey had 2 really good starts and has looked a lot worse his last 2 times out. So they're just looking for a little bit more consistency, both offensively and from the pitchers down at this point in the season.
Now, Grady Sizemore put in a great spring training, and he's been pretty consistent so far this year. And he also won a starting outfield spot. Could a healthy Sizemore be the X factor for the Sox this year?
I mean, coming into spring, the idea, I think I compared him to a lottery ticket, where you didn't really know what you had there. He was such a good player from 2005 to 2008. He was pretty much a better version of Jacoby Ellsbury in those years, the Ellsbury that the Red Sox had a couple of years later. So for him to come in and win that starting center field job in spring training, he looked a lot like the player he was. He was hitting line drives all over the place. And he's carried that into this season. The one problem has been that his defense in center field hasn't been quite up to par. He's been one of the center fielder, and that's part of the reason Jackie Bradley Jr. was kind of the fallback option in center field if Sizemore didn't win the job in spring. He's been up since Shane Victorino's been hurt, and he's played a lot more center field of late, and it looks like he might stick even when Victorino comes back, with Sizemore maybe moving to left field, just to give the Red Sox a stronger defensive outfield. But if Sizemore, if he can be the guy who claims that leadoff spot, hits line drives, gets on base, gives you a little bit of power, that really changes the dynamic of this lineup.
Now, you mentioned Jackie Bradley Jr. Are you surprised with how he's played so far with the team?
Not completely. I mean, we all knew that he was this good a defensive player, that he was, his range in the outfield is pretty fun to watch because he gets such good reads on fly balls. He doesn't have the, you think he's a lot faster than he is because of how good a jump he gets on a lot of different fly balls. So we knew that coming in. Offensively, he's looked about what you'd expect. He's drawing a lot of walks. He's always been a patient hitter. He's always been comfortable hitting with 2 strikes. He's striking out probably a little bit more than I would have thought. But there have been times where he's looked locked in at the plate where he's gone the other way. It looked kind of like he did in the minor league. And then there have been times where he's still pulling off the ball a little bit and kind of rolling over, getting ground balls to the right side. So I think there's still work to be done offensively. But for the most part, it's been an encouraging start for him.
Moving to the pitching staff, Clay Buchholz last year was unbelievable to start the season with 12-1 record and a 1.74 ERA. So far this year and last year in the postseason, he wasn't at the same level. Is this because of lingering injuries, or is it due to something else?
I think I'm not sure whether to call it lingering injuries, just the effects of those injuries. He missed 3 months last year with a shoulder and neck issue. And that really affected his velocity coming down the stretch of the season. He had that start of the World Series where when he's warming up for the first inning, no one's really sure if he's going to be able to make it through that game at all. And I think he pitched 4 pretty effective innings for them. But so far this year in his 4 starts, the velocity still isn't what it was last April and May. He's sitting around 90-91 instead of 92-93 or even 94. So he said yesterday that the arm strength isn't quite what he wants it to be. He's a guy who's used to building his arm up through spring and he's ready to go on opening day. Whereas someone like John Lackey always says he uses kind of April to get fully up to par with his arm strength. But Buchholz is used to it being ready to go on April 1st, and it just isn't this year. And part of that is because they had a longer season last year, so he didn't start throwing as early in the offseason as he usually does. Took a little slower in spring training. He was coming off an injury. So he's hopeful that, a couple more starts is what he needs to get that arm strength totally up to where it was last year, and that he still has the stuff to be as effective as he was last year. Maybe not a 1.74 ERA, but still an above average starting pitcher. Because right now his pitches aren't moving quite as much. His stuff looks flatter. So it's just a matter of getting the arm strength back, I think, over the course of the next couple weeks.
Now, last season, Koji Uehara emerged as a dominant force for the Red Sox last season. Do you see anyone coming up through the bullpen or in the field or at the plate for the Red Sox that can maybe help the team a lot like Koji did last year?
I'm not sure if there's anyone who has that kind of Uehara-like impact because, basically from July 1st on, he was unbelievable. He walked a guy the other day. It was his first walk since August. He struck out something like 60 guys in that stretch, it's just ridiculous, the numbers he put up. One guy that I think can be better than some people realize, and I think is already better than some people realize, is Ichi Tozawa in the back end of that bullpen. The idea coming into this year was that Edward Mujica would be the primary setup man in the 8th inning, and if Uehara needed a night off, that would be Mujica's time to close. That's kind of how it's been so far. But Tozawa is a guy who they're very comfortable bringing in with runners on base now. He had a really nice postseason. He had several big matches with Miguel Cabrera that he won in the ALCS last year. He's a guy whose numbers last year were really good if you took out his games against the Blue Jays, because for some reason I think he gave up like 6 of his 8 home runs against Toronto. So if you took out all those, if you took out just his matchups with Bautista and Nacion and those guys, his numbers would have been really, really good. So I think he's a guy who's kind of growing into that role as a setup man and can be, maybe not quite what Daniel Bard was eighth inning guys to go along with the great closer.
Now, I know it's early on in the season, and it seems like the AL East is always tight, but do you think the Red Sox are good enough to compete for a top spot in that division this year?
Yeah, I think the good news if you're a Red Sox fan, yeah, they're off to a slow start, but you look at the rest of the division, and it's not like anyone's running away with it. You know, the American League, basically the A's and the only team that's off to a really good start. In the East, the Yankees are in first, but Von Nova is probably going to need Tommy John surgery. Comes out this week. So their rotation takes a big hit. Their infield is obviously flawed. With Jeter and short is probably the most dependable part of their infield, and he's a 40-year-old coming off in this season. So there's a lot of flaws on that team. The Rays, who I think I would have pegged as the primary contender to knock off the Red Sox in the division, have lost Matt Moore for the year. Alex Cobb is on the DL. Jeremy Hellickson's on the DL, and they don't have quite the starting pitching depth that we're used to seeing from them because they just don't have the prospects they used to. They're all in the big leagues now. And the Orioles, who played the Red Sox really well last year and added Ubaldo Jimenez and Nelson Cruz, they're still a team that doesn't have kind of the back-end starting pitching that I think they probably need to win 92, 93 games and take this division. The Red Sox might be able to win this division with fewer than 90 wins, which is not something we're used to seeing in the East. That hasn't happened since 2000. But it's not as strong a division, or not as top-heavy a division as we're used to seeing.
You were mentioning players with injuries on other teams. What about the players on the Red Sox with injuries? When will we see Shane Victorino? What about Will Middlebrooks?
Both of them are currently on rehab assignments in Pawtucket. So Victorino, I think the thought is he might be able to come back, in this series against the Yankees, the finale of this homestand here. Middlebrooks might be able to come back by the weekend series in Toronto. That's another thing where the Red Sox have been hit with a couple injuries, but one's not as serious. They're more of the 2-week variety than the 6-month variety, and both those guys could be back in the lineup by the weekend, which is another reason to be optimistic about where this offense can be.
Now, you just said the Yankees coming to Fenway tonight. They're starting a big 3-game series. Is the rivalry still alive? Like, what do you see? What are your insights on this series and the rivalry in the whole?
Well, I don't think the rivalry is what it was a decade ago. 03, 04, where you had, where these were the two teams in the American League. And, you can even say they were the two teams in Major League Baseball, where you knew they were going to be there in the postseason. They're probably going to see each other in October. And everyone else was trying to catch up to the Yankees and Red Sox. It hasn't been that way in a couple of years. Obviously, they haven't met in the postseason in a decade. And the dynamics of even the division, with the Rays becoming a perennial contender in the East, has kind of changed the way that rivalry works. And so I don't think there's kind of the field-level animosity maybe there used to be. Veritek getting up in Alex Rodriguez's face. Something like that hasn't really happened in a while. So I don't think the players feel quite as much antagonism toward each other as maybe they did back in the halcyon days of 03 and 04. There still is, obviously the fans I think still feel that way, and there still is kind of a series like this is a gauge for where you are early in the season. If the Yankees come into Fenway and sweep, then things look a lot different than they do today. If the Red Sox take care of, if the Red Sox sweep, they look a lot better than they did 3 days ago. So there's always that possibility of making a statement in this kind of series. But I don't think it's quite at the level that it used to be at.
Now, do you think the lack of intensity, you mentioned Jason Veritek and Alex Rodriguez, the way they got into it a few years ago, do you think that lack of intensity has kind of ruined the series and just lessened the rivalry compared to how it used to be?
It's so tough to maintain that intensity over the course of several years. You look, any rivalry is kind of fleeting in a way. And this one, it's decades long. It's got more history than any rivalry in sports, pretty much. But if you're not seeing each other in the postseason, it's been a while since both teams made the postseason in the same season. I think we're going back to 2007 that both teams have made the playoffs in the same year. So they haven't really had a chance to meet up in October, and that's really, as much fun as the 18 or 19 regular season meetings can be, a rivalry is really forged in the postseason. And without that, I think it's, no matter how the players feel about each other, it's not going to be quite the same intensity if it's only regular season meetings.
Now, just moving over to the city of Boston as a whole now, it's been a year since the Boston Marathon bombings, and for you being so close to the team in the city, just what's it been like up there the past few days in Boston?
It's been it's been a kind of a weird mix of celebration, being years gone by, but also of remembrance for who was lost, and kind of what a whirlwind week that was last year at this time. So it was an important anniversary to reach and to celebrate, but also to kind of get past. For the Red Sox have been so connected to that it's been tough for them to kind of settle into a normal routine just because of all the attention that's been on the marathon and their role in it, and playing like a Sunday night game before a Monday morning game. From a baseball perspective, I think they're looking forward to kind of getting into the games are at 7 o'clock now most of the time. We're going to be in a normal routine. No one's going to spend the night at Fenway Park or anything like they did Sunday night. I think they're looking forward to that. But I mean, for the city, it was the Sunday night ceremony at Fenway was very well done, and it's been a source of great pride for the city of Boston, and it's been a pretty celebratory week here in New England.
Now, last question. How do you see the season panning out for the Red Sox? Even though it's early in the season, what are your predictions for the rest of the year?
Coming into the year, I probably would have said they were about a 93-win team, which I think would be enough to win the AL East. At this point, I don't see much reason to change that. Maybe say, maybe they're 91-win team, 92-win team, based on what's happened so far. But I still think, especially with what we talked about earlier with the injuries within the division, especially to Tampa Bay, that the Red Sox are the best team in the AL East, barring a big injury that they themselves sustain. If Jonah gets hurt, and this is a significant time, that changes everything. But as things look right now, I still think they have the most talent in the division. I still think they're the best team in the division. They have the most depth in the division, so they can withstand a major injury in a way that some of the other teams can't. As far as the American League as a whole, I picked the Red Sox to win the pennant and lose in the World Series before the year. I'm not sure. Like, Oakland's looked really good, but 19 games or whatever in, you're never sure how real that is. Like, how good is Jesse Chavez actually? How good is Sonny Gray? So I think the playoffs are always a crapshoot, and it's tough to predict. But I think it'd be if the Red Sox get to October, they've got as good a shot as anybody.
All right, thank you for coming on the show.
No, anytime. Appreciate it.
That was Tim Britton coming on the show. He's a beat writer for the Providence Journal, and he was giving his insight. He's a beat writer for the Red Sox for the Providence Journal, and he was giving his insights on Major League Baseball and the Red Sox.
Yeah, always great having people like that come on the show. I was really he gave us some insight that I did not even. It really helped me. Like, I'm being like a Red Sox fan, someone I root for. It really gave me some great insight on the year and the season. He was very knowledgeable, and Duke University grad. I mean, Syracuse fan, Duke University, new rivalry there for basketball. But I have to get. He was a great man to have come on the show.
He was a really good guy. We always love having guests coming on the show. But right now, it is that time of the show where Salty and I we do our what's grinding our gears, and then Salty does his top 5. Now for Salty, he's doing his top 5. Everyone knows he does. Last week or last show we did, Salty did what's grinding his gears. He took my spot.
So I think Rahemba's going to start off with his grinding his gears
guys,
segment.
I want to do my thing though.
I'm gonna get back. No, you're gonna do your thing.
But Rahemba's going to go first.
But I'm gonna do my thing.
Yeah.
So
Fine,
so
go first.
so just relax. So
Save the best for last, right?
Yeah.
that's what you think. So. Yesterday, it was reported a few days ago, Keyshawn Johnson, he was arrested after a dispute with his girlfriend, domestic violence dispute, something like that. Now, you never know. I don't want to speculate, but it's been reported that he had a dispute with his girlfriend, and he was arrested. He's now in the L.A. County Sheriff's Department. And
he was released on $20,000 bond.
Yeah, released on $20,000 bond. But I just got to talk about, I think it's a little sad the way professional sports and the way professional athletes have, acted off of the field. I know it's been something that's, it's been a topic for a long time. Guys just, they do a lot of things off the field that they shouldn't be doing, yada, yada, yada. They don't really have enough time in the season, so they got to do, they just do ridiculous stuff off the field. Now, I know Keyshawn Johnson, he's an analyst for ESPN. He's ESPN, the countdown show that they have on there for football. But I think it's just sad the way, professional athletes, the way they act. And it was even reported that Donovan McNabb, he was also arrested. A few days ago. So, I mean, it's just ridiculous. I mean, and the sad thing is these guys are probably going to come back and they're probably going to have their jobs again with ESPN.
Oh, absolutely.
They're going to come back and they're just going to go right back to the way they used to be. It's going to be like nothing ever happened. These guys are going to come back, and Keyshawn Johnson and Donovan is probably going to end up going right back to ESPN the way he was with an analyst. And Donovan McNabb, I believe he's on the NFL Network.
Yeah, and he's doing public speaking too. Going around.
So I mean, Donovan, you're going to have a guy like that, these guys who have gotten arrested, and they're going to go back working and doing things that they continuously done, and I think it's just sad the way these guys act off the field, and I feel like the way these guys are able to come back and get jobs, why can't regular people?
Well, I'm going to kind of go off that really quick, Salty. I know you're answering at the bit to do your top 5, but I just want to say, in May, Keyshawn Johnson, he's the neighbor with Justin Bieber. He kind of went off on Justin Bieber for causing too much ruckus, committing trouble. He actually went to his house and he counseled him for a day about speeding and doing all that bad stuff.
So where does he get off on counseling a guy like Justin Bieber when he just got arrested after a dispute with his girlfriend?
Exactly.
That's ridiculous.
My point.
That was a really good point. It's sad. It's just sad the way these things happen.
This is indicative of a bigger topic itself. This is something we could talk about more than just one little story like this, because this is something else that has been seen throughout sports, by many different people.
They feel
not just in the NFL, guys all over professional sports. It's been a topic. These guys, they're in their facilities during the season. They have half of the year where they're with their team and they're in those facilities working out, practicing, focusing on their sport, and then they have the rest of the year and they're out doing who knows what.
Yeah, I mean,
these guys just got to get their head on straight. It's ridiculous.
They think that they're athletes, they're role models, they're A-list, B-list celebrities. They're up there in the world. They can do whatever they want, and nothing's going to hurt them. I mean, like I said with Bieber earlier, he thought he could do anything that he wanted, and he kind of got that handed to him.
No.
Yeah, he got that handed to him.
Big time.
So we're going to wrap that one up. It's been grinding Rahemba's gears. He wanted to
I just had to get off my chest. Now, Salty, let's hear your top 5. Is it top? We don't know. I don't know if it's a top 5.
I don't know what he's doing.
So he hasn't told us.
His top.
So
we're just calling it top X.
Top whatever.
Right,
go ahead, Salty.
Last
Whoa, buddy. Whoa. You need some water?
Clear your throat.
You got water right there.
You got it. You got it.
Take a sip. Take a
I'm
sip.
good.
Take a sip.
Take a
sip.
All
right.
Thank you for worrying.
All right.
So last week we had me take over the grinding your gears segment, but this time we're back. Top 5, baby. Let's go. At number 5 for the greatest knock jokes. That's right. Knock
Salty,
jokes.
I told you last night these better be funny, or I'm gonna call you out right now.
I believe they are funny.
All right. Let's hear
I'm
'em.
hoping that they're funny.
So they're probably not funny.
Knock.
Who's there?
Canoe.
Canoe who?
Can you help me with homework? Hey, yo!
I knew that.
That's why that's number 5.
Okay,
That's number
okay.
5.
Right, if they get better, okay. I hope they get better.
Number 1's pretty good.
Okay.
All right. Well, we're number 4.
I hope so.
Well, number 4.
Number
knock,
4.
Knock.
Who is there?
Claire.
Claire who?
Claire the way. I'm coming through.
Boo.
Come on, give it to me. Give it to me.
All right. What's 3?
Knock.
Who's there?
Police.
Police who?
Police, hurry up. It's chilly outside.
Boo.
Come on.
Boo.
Fine. Number 2. Knock.
Who's there?
Robin.
Robin who?
Robin the piggy bank. Hey.
That was awful.
That was terrible.
That one should have been 5.
Little kids
Terrible.
put
Okay.
money in piggy banks.
Number 1
This
better
is a
be good.
one.
All right.
Knock.
Who's there?
King Tut.
King Tut who?
Kentucky Fried Chicken.
Oh my gosh. Oh my gosh.
Shout out to KFC for that one.
Oh,
that was a good
Best
one.
Chicken there
That was a
is.
good one.
Thank you,
Salty,
Jonah.
have I ever told you how unfunny you are?
Okay.
You're so unfunny that you're funny.
Yeah.
I need to explain this to you.
Okay, what do you do to explain
When
to
I
us?
speak,
Yeah?
people listen.
Oh yeah? Is that
And
true?
when people listen and I say something in a funny manner, they laugh.
Oh, do they?
That's what the people do.
Are they laughing at you or with you?
I don't know if I'm funny, but based off the reactions of people who I know, I'm funny.
Right.
Well, you never know. They could be laughing at you or with you, but that's always the question.
Okay, here's the thing. When
Yeah.
I said that last one, number one, the Kentucky Fried Chicken.
Yeah.
Producer Benelli, shout out to Benelli.
Yeah, we didn't shout out
was
Benelli yet.
laughing.
Oh,
We
yeah.
got to shout out Benelli. We usually have producer Pete in the
but
control room doing
Producer
everything.
Rybo, he's coming in. It was his birthday on Saturday, so happy birthday, Rybo.
And now that we've given him a shout out, that'll do it for the show.
That'll do it.
SE16 podcast for Jonah Restuccio and Matt Rahemba. I am Steve Altieri, and hope you all have a good day.
This may be one of our. I think we got like 2 more episodes after this.
Okay. Right now, we're planning on having at least 2 more episodes.
So
because it's coming to a close. The year is almost
Okay,
over.
guys, I did the wrap up.
Well,
we just want to give our listeners an insight. People care.
Yeah,
people want to know.
This is almost coming to an end. Almost.
I did the wrap up.
So right now, just our listeners, we could possibly have 2 more episodes. Plan on at least having 1 more.
Oh, at least one.
There's going to definitely be 1 more before the end of the year.
One.
Possibly a second one. We're going to try our hardest to get a second one out there. Hopefully have some more guests coming on those episodes.
Yeah, hopefully we have some good, solid guests like we've had so far. It would be great.
And also give a shout out to our guests that we've had this year. We've been doing this for about like a month and a half.
Yeah, Carl,
something like that.
Carl Ravitch, Chris McCullough, Tim Britton,
Andrew Marchand.
Yeah,
I mean, we've had some pretty good guests so far.
Always,
big shout out to them for taking some time out of their days to come on our show.
Shout out to all our guests, but for Jonah Restuccio, for Matt Rahemba,
wrap it up again.
Shout out to mom and dad back home. I'm Steve Altieri. Have a good day, everybody.
This is the SE16 podcast.